For most people, you don't think that you use negative numbers very much in your life, but you constantly are. If you're in debt, that's a negative number. The idea behind negative numbers is difficult for a lot of people to grasp. So what I'm going to do is take a couple things that I enjoy and try to explain it in those terms. I really happen to like anything to do with money and football, along with pro wrestling and Kate Upton, but we're going to stick with money and football today. So, in football, you have something called the line of scrimmage, which is your starting point. If you gain yards, it's positive. If you lose yards, it's negative. So we're going to start with football. Let's say we start at the line of scrimmage is the 50-yard line, so we're halfway on the field. We have the University of Kentucky football team, which, let's face it, we weren't very good this year. So, on first down, they drop back to pass, and they get sacked for a 10-yard loss. So, that's going to be a negative 10 yards for them. On second down, they decide to run a draw play up the middle, which surprises the defense, and they gain 8 yards. So, that gives us negative 10 plus 8. We're currently at negative 2 yards right now. Then on third down with 2 yards to go, they run one of those famous bubble passes and pick up only 1 yard. So now they are currently down 1 yard. To get a first down, you have to get 10 yards in football. So, it's fourth down. They drop back to pass, but they get sacked. They lose 5 yards. So, what was their total loss of yards? First down, they lost 10. Second down, they lost 8. Second down, they actually gained 8, my bad. Third down, they gained 1, and on fourth down, they lost 5. So, negative 10 plus 8 is negative 2, plus 1 is negative 1, plus a negative 5 is negative 6. So, they didn't happen to gain the first down. Dang it. I was pulling for you. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about money. So, let's say we go to the First National Bank of SpongeBob, and we take out a loan for $50,000. Thank you, SpongeBob. And we turn around and repay SpongeBob $8,000 immediately. You know, that's a good start, but that means we're currently in debt $42,000. Then let's say we decide we want to borrow a little more money. So we borrow money from former presidential candidate Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney's nice enough to loan us $15,000. We turn around and we repay Romney $14,000 so far. So we still owe Mitt Romney $1,000. He'll get his money. And then we decide we need a little bit more money. So we borrow $3,000 from our parents. That isn't enough. So then we decide we need to borrow a little bit more. So we borrow $11,000 from Justin Bieber. Good thing he sells a lot of records. So let's recap what we've done so far. We took out an original loan for $50,000. We repaid $8,000 of it. And then we borrowed another $15,000 and we repaid $14,000 of it. So, that means $50,000 plus $8,000, negative $50,000 plus $8,000 is just negative $42,000. Then we borrow another $15,000, which puts us at negative what? Negative 42 plus negative 15 gives us negative 57. And then we repay $14,000 of it, which puts us right back to negative 43. Then we borrow another $3,000 from our parents, which puts us at negative 46. Then we borrow the $11,000 from Justin Bieber, which puts us at a total debt of negative $57,000. You don't want to be negative $57,000, but this is just to illustrate a point. You've seen it with logic and word problems, which I think it's easier to actually work it like that, but let's try some regular numbers. We're going to start with the very basics of this. Adding and subtracting negative numbers. Let's say you have 8, and you're going to add a negative 3. So it's the same thing as 8 minus 3. 8 minus 3 just gives you 5. Simple enough. Let's go over here. We have negative 18, and we're going to add 7. It's going to give us negative 11. Notice that our negative is larger than our positive. That's why it's staying a negative. Let's go down to the next question. We have negative 18 minus a positive 3. So you have negative minus a positive. It's going to stay negative. So negative 18 minus 3 does give us negative 21. Let's go to the next one. Negative 15 minus a negative 7. Notice I have the negative 7 in parentheses. I did that because I think it's easier to keep track of it that way. So I have minus a negative. This is how I like to think about it. If you are negative on the outside and you're negative on the inside, you need to become positive. So I changed that to a plus sign. So negative 15 plus 7 is negative 8. Let's go down to the next question. We have negative 8 minus a negative 3. Once again, that becomes, if you're negative on the outside and negative on the inside, you need to become a positive Patrick star. So we're going to change that to a plus. So negative 8 plus 3 does give us negative 5. Now, that's adding and subtracting rules. It's a little bit different when you do multiplication and division, which most people actually prefer. Here are the rules for that. Multiply and divide. A negative times a negative equals a positive, or a negative divided by negative equals positive. A negative times a positive equals a negative, or a negative divided by a positive equals a negative. A positive times a positive gives you a positive, or a positive divided by a positive gives you a positive. Nothing wrong with that one. Now, we're going to see some of these rules in action. So we have negative 8 times 6. We have negative times positive. So 8 times 6 just gives us 48. Negative times positive gives you a negative. So negative 48. Next one. Negative 2 times negative 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Negative times negative gives you a positive. Just remember your rules. You can always refer back to these rules right here. These are so handy. Negative times negative is positive. Negative times positive is negative. And positive times positive is positive. There's a look at my very pretty hands. So now we have negative 45 divided by 15. 45 divided by 15 is just 3. But negative divided by positive gives you a negative. So that's why negative 45 divided by 15 gave us negative 3. Then we have negative 60 divided by negative 10. Remember, negative divided by negative gives us a positive. So it's just 60 divided by 10 gives us 6. Hope this clarifies some of this a little bit. The best way to think about this, in my opinion, is always to use it in money terms. That's something we're all familiar with. Hope this helps.